up, guys? All right? Guys, let's bring it in. Linus, let's bring it in. Guys, so it's Fundamentals Month. Linus. All right, so we're going to be working on defense, right? So all of this week we're working on a lot of defensive tactics, okay? And we're going to talk about defending from bottom side control. Before we talk about the defense that we're going to do today, let's talk a little bit of the context behind this escape, okay? So if Linus is going to be on his back and bottom side control, okay? When I'm here, a lot of times when I'm attacking my training partner, right, I have a nice chest to chest, all right? If I want to just control them, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my knee right by their hip, by their near hip, and I'm going to use my elbow and keep it by their far hip. Once I'm nice and low on their hips like this, guys, this is a very strong pinning position. It's going to be very hard for Linus from here to escape. Linus, try to escape a little bit. He's going to be pretty stuck, right? It's going to be hard for him to move. But if I'm low on his hips like this, I'm far away from his upper body. I'm far away from his arms and from his neck. So it's going to be hard for me to finish him, right? So a lot of times, what people do is they're going to take this hand and they're going to start to clip right at that elbow, and they're going to start to walk it up for a couple of reasons. Number one, I'm setting up arm triangles. Number two, I'm setting up mounts. And number three is as his arm starts to come above his head, I'm setting up nice like S mounts and things like that, right? But something interesting happens when I do that. This hip opens up, okay? And this is what we're going to look at today. Number two, the traditional way to escape from bottom side control, just without Linus, is to do a big bridge and a big hip escape. However, usually when you're doing this motion, guys, your power is decreasing. So you do one bump, second one's going to be a little less, third one's going to be a little less. So it's hard to generate power going up when you're doing the bumps, right? And from the reverse, we're always looking for that, right? We're looking to cook our training partners. They're going to bump 3, 4, 5 times, and then we're going to look to attack them later, right? So how can I generate more power and more speed? Instead of using a bump, I'm going to use a pendulum motion, all right? So let me show you what I'm talking about. So again, I'm going to be waiting until Linus starts exactly walking that hand up. This is a good attack for him, but now look, this hip becomes open, right? So look what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to put my feet together, and I'm going to start to swing my knees. First, I'm going to go into Linus, then I'm going to swing away from him, and then I'm going to swing into him again. And when I did that, I created a pocket of space to put my knee into that spot. From here, guys, it's going to be very important that I have a strong frame on his arm, and I have a good knee into his stomach. Why? Because I don't have anything hooking Linus at this moment. If Linus grabs this collar, if Linus grabs it exactly, then he'll put me right back to where he wants me, right? So from here, again, I'm going to be here. Linus, 1 second. You're not doing a good job of keeping your right knee by my hip. Thank you. So right now, my hip is done. There's no space for my knee to go in, right? From here, guys, it's going to be a little bit hard if his elbow is right by my hip. But as soon as he starts to disconnect my top frame, go ahead. Now I feel a little opening. So knees come up. I'm going to go in, out, and then in again, all right? And now I'm out. As soon as I'm out, guys, I'm going to block this arm. I'm going to look to bring my head away from Linus, and I'm going to look to bring my bottom hook in, and then trap him in a knee shield half guard, all right? And then from here, you can choose your destination. You can look for overhooks, bicep ties, to look for triangles, for example. You can look for drags. You can look to do a lasso, whatever you want to do. You can do anything you would like afterwards, all right? Choose your destination, but first we're going to do this escape, all right? One more time. So I'm going to be here with Linus, all right? And guys, here, when we're in bottom side control, a lot of times, if we didn't escape in the first few seconds, the likelihood of us escaping is going to be minimal, right? So sometimes we got to be patient here. I'm here because if I start to bump, I'm going to start to bump. I'm going to get tired, and then now, I'm going to be exhausted looking to defend his submission. So sometimes you got to just wait, and it's going to be his move, right? And as soon as he starts to go, oh, boom! I found a little opening, and I was able to spin right into Linus. All right. So again, from here, this is a decent spot, all right, to attack from. But if I can bring my head away and trap him with the bottom leg and bring my knee in front of him, it's going to be even better, all right? And then from here, if he's paused, if he's not moving, I'm going to get his head out of the way, for example, take my leg out, and now I can shoot for a kimura, all right? So whatever you want. For the students that have some moves from there, feel free to use one of those moves and do a whole sequence. Any questions, guys? We're good to go? Let's go. All right? Guys, let's bring it in. Guys, so the man behind the camera, Kevin, he came up and asked me if there's a part 2. Guys, there's always a part 2. All right, Linus, we bring it in. All right, so Kevin asked me these questions. All right, so we're here. I have Linus here. Guys, a couple of things to talk about. So a lot of us got it, but like some of us could be a little bit better. So if my feet are like this, look guys, it's like I can kind of swing, but my feet are a little bit disconnected. You see that they can kind of start to flop. So you want to have your feet and your knees and your hips lined up. So the way to do that is by making your feet kiss. Like if your feet are able to touch, now look, I can now generate more of a swing. You see that I can kind of move sideways beyond the mat. Furthermore, the higher my hips are, the easier it's going to be for me to swing and then get some distance and get some momentum, all right? And what we were talking about earlier is I'm able to generate speed using this, as opposed to if I'm doing a hip bump, it's going to be hard. Let's rewind a little bit. When I start on a bottom side control here, guys, I'm always doing the same thing. I keep both frames in front of me, right? I don't want to have my hands anything like this. If I'm here, it's going to be hard to push Linus away. My hands and my arms are doing some work. When I'm here, I am pushing him. For Jackson and for others, my fingertips are not touching my training partner. If you can see, I have just my blades of my wrists across his hip and across his neck. If my fingertips are touching him, that means I'm pushing him with a soft piece of my hand, or even worse, my fingers. I want to be pushing him with a sharp piece of this blade, all right? So make sure you're here. So Linus, try to smash me as much as you can. So the more he goes into me, the more pressure he's putting on himself, okay? Linus is not making a face for the camera, but imagine he is. He shouldn't feel very comfortable here. And now, as he's here, now he's going to start to disconnect the frame. Go ahead. I feel that opening. Look, I'm going to ball up. So my hips just came off the mat. Now look, I'm going to start to go into him a little bit. I'm going to go away, and now look at that huge pocket that I created. Now I can spin and get a lot of space. Paul, you don't want to be curled up here, all right, because they're going to grab you. You want to create as much space as possible, all right? And when you create a lot of space, then it's going to be easy to take your bottom leg and hook them and trap them in a half guard, all right? Now, very simple but very powerful attack. I'm going to put my foot on his hip, and I'm going to grab right at the cuff, right at the end of the sleeve. Now, what I need to do is I need to flare my knee, just like that. As soon as I flare my knee, now it's going to be very hard for him to get this arm back. From here, I'm going to punch my knuckles into his wrist. I'm going to punch his hand away from me, and in one shot, I'm going to kick this leg out. As I'm doing that, I'm going to hit an arm drag, just like that. Linus is probably going to put his hand onto the floor. I'm going to keep that grip. I'm going to start to go right around his collar, and I'm going to heist myself up and put my chest on his back. From here, I can connect the seatbelt, or I can grab the lapel, and I can start to bring it behind his back. Now I can pull him into my lap. As soon as he falls into my lap, I can throw my hook. This hand can start to go around his neck. I can fall to that side, and now I can start to finish him with the bow and arrow choke, trapping his arm, and then looking to get a finish right here, A, or I can look to grab his pants, and then look to finish him here, B. All right, so it just depends on how he's going to fall, and you can see what's available to you. All right, so once more, I'm here with Linus. Again, very important, you can see my fingertips, guys. All right, I'm pushing like this. As soon as I see Linus free my hip, now I'm going to ball up, and I'm going to generate that space, okay? Blocking his arm, bottom leg comes in, foot goes onto the hip, and then now I'm going to go here. And here, guys, stay patient. This is like a safe hub for you. Linus, move around a little bit. It's going to be hard, all right? If he starts to stand up, then I'm going to start to enter his legs, right? So if he stays low, I'm going to stay here. When I'm ready, look, knuckles going to his wristwatch. I'm punching it away. My leg comes out, and I'm hitting him with the arm drag, all right? So again, one shot. Pop. Keeping my hand here, getting height on my training partner, chest covering their back, grabbing a lapel, or going for a seatbelt. Seatbelt, we keep it basic. We fall over, we start to put the hook. If he covers, we open them up, and then we put the hook. All right, so play around. Everything is correct. Both sides are correct. As long as you have a nice seatbelt, you have both hooks, you're ready to rock and roll. Cool? Any questions, guys, before we start? Let's go.